Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined for the EuroCup 7 days press conference for the game, round 16 game between London Lions and Promitheas Patras, joined by head coach of the London Lions, Schmidt. Tough loss tonight, coach. What's the feelings like in the locker room at this point?
Yeah, I mean, disappointed. Tough game, but again, credit to them. I thought they played extremely well. They compete for 40 minutes. I thought their physicality really kind of took us out of some things offensively. I think it kind of impacted our poor shooting performance. From the three-point line, obviously shooting 28%. It's going to be tough to win games when you shoot like that. And then obviously, again, we talked about in the locker room. You give up 93 points to a team in this competition. It was going to be tough to win. So I was proud of the effort we showed in the fourth quarter. I wasn't happy with how we defended, pretty much throughout the game. But I thought, down the stretch, the last 3 or 4 minutes, I thought we stepped up, got some big stops. Tough call down the stretch there, I thought. But that's part of the game, right? Again, you see look at them. I thought, the thing that really stood out to me was just their ability to get to the free throw line. You look at the foul count was pretty even. But again, I think the difference was, they really kind of lived in the paint. Were really aggressive and kind of kept us on our heels. And again, made 22 for 25 on the free throw line. But yeah, again, credit to them. Tough loss. We got to move on and learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously going into the next round 17 game against Telecom, what will you take from this game and how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to take away. Because I think the physicality is something that stands out, when you watch both of those teams play. So again, we know it's going to be very similar. They're a team that obviously, is capable of putting up big numbers on the offensive end. They're really physical, got good size. So again, if we don't clean up some of our defensive deficiencies from this game, it's going to be looking very similar. And then again, I think we got to do a better job of, when we get the ball moving from side to side, being able to attack and get downhill and get into the paint, which I thought we settled for a little bit too much. I thought we were a little passive, on the offensive end. But again, yeah, like I said, every time, we have these press conferences, I keep saying there's no easy games in this competition. It's the next one coming up. They're one of the best teams in our group. Probably one of the favorites to win it in this competition. But again, a really good test for us. Get a chance to play them at home. Let's see what kind of improvements we can make, from week to week.
Perfect. Any questions from the floor for Coach Schmidt?
In the final moments, I was just interested to know what you were saying to the players in the final timeout.
The final one, we were trying to get kind of go for a quick three. Just kind of a quick look. We had 11 seconds, so just try to extend the game. So we ran a little action, tried to get Sam on a post up, and then kind of on the back end, we were setting a little, hammer screen for Voida. We got a 3 option, or if Sam could get a quick 2. I thought, again, was a little indecisive, and we kind of rushed it and ended up, turning the ball over. But we're just trying to extend the game, obviously, as much as we can, see if we can, either get a quick 3 or a quick 2 and see where the game lied after that.
What do you make of the third quarter? Obviously, you're up 2 at the half and down 9 after the third. What do you think went particularly wrong in that quarter?
A lot. I think defensively, I didn't like what we did defensively. I think we went into this, this game, as a third-rated defense in EuroCup, and I just thought we just gave them too many easy opportunities, especially just their ability to kind of get into the paint. I thought it wasn't off of second or third actions or anything. It was just really kind of straight line drives. I thought we were really late in our rotations, but at the same time, I think you got to give these guys credit. There was about 4 possessions that I remember where we had them down under 5 seconds on the shot clock, and Cowan or Thomason or Kuboka, these guys hit some tough shots, contested as the shot clock's going off, and those are deflating, right? But again, that's what big players do, and there's talent across the board, in this competition, and guys are going to step up, and that's what those 2 did during those 3 guys, did during that time.
Hey, it's my actually first time at a professional basketball game, so it's been great. I've been really excited to be here. But I just want to ask you more generally, actually, about how you find Copper Box Arena, especially in those last-minute moments. So sort of bit of a tough loss, obviously, but how that compares to your, experience of other venues, and what you like about being here. And it's quite an intimate setting, I'd say, in terms of sort of.
Yeah, no, I love it personally. The players love it. It's been one of those things as far as, us building this, organization and the fan base that's gotten behind it is, nothing short of remarkable. And, you look back at kind of where this was a year ago, you had alone 2 or 3, and, there was 500, 600 people in the stands, and to have a crowd. I don't know what the final numbers were tonight, but it was loud, right? And even given I think there was a tube strike today, and there's just so complications in getting here. But again, it's been fun to see. Not just a growing fan base, but I think a consistent fan base, right? I think every, not even EuroCup, but a lot of our domestic games, we're getting really good turnouts. And it's fun to see the game growing here. It's fun to see the fans get behind our guys and our team. And, they feed off that energy. Obviously, we come up short tonight, but, those last 3 or 4 minutes, you could feel the energy, and our guys really played off of it. But no, it's been fun to see, and, we're very thankful to have the support that we're getting.
Where do you see that going? What do you hope to see more of, especially if you're looking towards, obviously, hopefully, more sort of European competition and bigger games in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, it's, to see get it to a point where I think we're getting sellouts consistently. I mean, I think we've had one with the Paris game, and that was, obviously a tough result. But to be a part of something like that is something you kind of remember. It's something you kind of hang on to. But you kind of touched on it in your last question. I think, it is an intimate setting. I think if sold out for a basketball game here, it's around 5,000, I think. And to me, it's, it could be one of the best environments in Europe, in my opinion. I think, and not even really being biased, but I think when the games we've been to in our group on the road, I think we have the best kind of turnout, especially consistently. A lot of these places you go to, they kind of have a tough time getting a good crowd in during the European competition because it is a weekday game. Their weekend games are domestically kind of a different story. But, again, I would, from attendance standpoint, I think we're right up there with anybody, at least in our group, that I think. So it's been pretty fun to see, especially for our first year, in this competition.
Thanks very much. I've just got one more comment. Oni made some tough layups there, especially coming on. How do you feel about him? I mean, I'm just watching it as first impression, coming on as sort of like a spark off the bench in many ways.
No, he's a good player, and I think obviously too that's. We needed a little bit more of that. I think, down the stretch, it was kind of just, to me, it was just plain decisive. I think, again, you could see that, and that's where we struggled scoring in the paint, I think, early in the game. And then it was, again, one of those moments where, all right, we need quick baskets, we need to be aggressive. And again, just his burst, his speed, along with his physicality, is pretty special. And so again, he puts pressure on the defense by doing that. And even there was that one time too where, he got into the paint and then kind of whipped a pass out, kicked it to Sam in the corner. Obviously didn't make it, but I think just his ability to get in the paint, not only finish but also play make, opens up. He did that last week when we were playing, against Slask. We made those shots. Tonight we didn't, but no, he's doing a good job for us.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Perfect.
Good.
Thanks, Coach. And we'll be back shortly with the Promitheas Patras coach to continue with the 7 days EuroCup press conference. We are now joined by the head coach, Yannis Christopoulos of Promitheas Patras. Coach, tough win for you on the road here in London. How does it feel, and what's the feeling like in the locker room?
Hello to everyone. It's a great feeling when you win basketball games, especially on the road. It becomes more special. We knew it's going to be difficult. I think both teams, they fought very hard. We did a good job defensively on the third quarter, and we set the tone and we got the lead, and I think we played, we managed it pretty correctly there, and I think that was wonderful to see our players responding and coming back from the locker room in the third quarter and make a statement with the defensive end.
And Anthony Cowan finished with 26 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists. What does he bring to your team?
He brings a winning spirit. He brings a lot of heart, and he's a great character, and he learns the game every day. Still he's a young guard, and I think as the time will go on, he will become better and better.
And looking forward to round 17 game against Paris Basketball, what do you foresee with that fixture for you guys?
Well, I think it's too far away to think about that.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Any questions from the floor?
You mentioned that the defense was really strong, especially in the third quarter. And I was wondering what changes you made from the first 2 quarters that allowed you to be so strong defensively in the third.
Yes. I wouldn't say it's about X and O's. I wouldn't say it's my input, it's the players. I mean, the only thing I insist it was to stick with our principles and finally apply what we're practicing and what do we know. This defense is not something you need to improvise. You need to be united. You need to be together. And finally, I'm happy to see that as a coach they responded and we apply our principles. We stick with what we do best, and I think that was the key right there.
Perfect. Any further questions?
And just one more. How do you think do you feel like the atmosphere made the game closer than you expected it to be?
Say that again, please.
How was the atmosphere
Yes.
in the stadium, and do you feel like it made the game closer than you had expected coming into the game?
I think it's a great place. I think London is in a building progress. As far as I know, as an organization, they grow, and as a basketball person, I'm happy to see that. It was really nice environment, very polite environment, and I think the fans, they try to push the team, and it's good to see that and sense that. I think these are steps ahead for basketball community.
Great. Thanks very much,
Thank
Coach.
you,
Thanks
sir.
for your time.
Have a good one.
And that concludes our EuroCup 7 days press conference here in London for the round 16 game between London Lions and Promitheas Patras.